Hey, what's up, Game Leapers? This is Eags. In today's video, 3 most broken champions for each role for patch 13.16, mate. We're going to get into these champions, guys, and I'll probably give you a tip for each one, if I'm feeling nice. But giving a tip for each of these champions and maybe telling you, like, the items and the runes and why they're OP doesn't really, like, change the fact that you're still going to be in Platinum. You're still going to be in E3. You're still going to be in Diamond, maybe. You're still going to be Bronze Iron. Whatever elo you are at the start of watching this video, you're going to be the same at the end of it. What you can actually do to help yourself is to climb out of elo hell by doing what? Well, all you have to do is just click on the GameLeap.com website. That's it, bro. And you will get access to our thousands of videos, whether it's champion courses, champion guides, high elo VOD analyses, even coaching sessions with people. We have it all. Our challenger players and coaches upload daily content for our thousands of subs. So why not sign up to get exclusive access to our library of content that will actually help you improve as a player? But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the 3 most broken for each role in 13.16. Starting off in the top lane. Number 3, this is a champion who is one of the best buy and pickable champions and most versatile top laners at the moment. This being Fiora. Even though Riot nerfed her passive, her vital damage this season, it hasn't really stopped Fiora the Grand Duelist from being just that, the Grand Duelist. Maybe one tip I can give you on Fiora is to play your vitals. That's pretty much it. And to remember that your Q cooldown is pretty much everything. You miss it, puts it on a longer cooldown, and also maybe going into a game, remember that the enemy team, and top laner especially, is going to have an ability that's really important to parry. So you should almost like keep that in your head. I'm using my riposte for this ability. Could be like a Renekton stun trying to time it. It could be a Riven Q3. It could be something else, maybe like a Blitzcrank hook in team fights. That's really important to have in your mind as well. And also remember that you can use your W actually offensively. Lots of lower elo Fiora players won't actually use it for this reason because it acts as a really good slow and also slows the enemy champion's attack speed. So let's just say you happen to hit level 2 and they're still level 1, you can skill your parry and actually use it as part of your Q to slow them and slow their attack speed. You 100% win trades by doing it, just only do this when you know you're in a 1v1 with the advantage. But Fiora with Grass, Conqueror if you want to, in those trading matchups, absolutely fine as well. She's number 3. Number 2, the best AP champion in the top lane that you guys can play. Just don't pick Rumble if you already have like 2 champions that are AP in mid and jungle. You want to be picking this guy with obviously like really good wombo combos. So if you have like a J4 jungle, you might have Leona support, Rel, Rakan. All of these champions are popular right now. So picking Rumble is really great for the meta, but also because of the buffs that came in 13.16, right? Where they buffed the damage you're dealing based off of HP, and they also gave you more heat. This means you can manage your heat better, and also by rushing a Demonic Embrace, especially in the top lane, well, maybe rushing Sorcerer's Shoes first, and then into Demonic Embrace, right? Because the Azakana Gaze passive has so much value in the top lane, because every champion is going to have HP, unless you are against something like a Quinn maybe. But yeah, you get my point, right? Demonic Embrace with the changes to Rumble, and with top lane being so tanky, that comes in clutch so much. After this, you can get a Night Harvester, and you will be dealing the most damage in a game. So Rumble is number 2 if you need AP as a top laner. The best top laner though, guys, for another patch, I don't want to talk about him too much, this is Jax. Now, Jax, I don't think we have to get into the tech here, whether you're going Divine Sundra, Trinity Force if you're super far ahead. Doesn't really matter, right? This champion is just outright broken. Maybe a tip I can give to you, Jax players, is to try to time your W with your second auto attack when you hit level 6. So you can almost like counter 2 in a way, or maybe 1 even. So 1, and your next auto attack is going to be empowered. Try to use this with your W, though you're maxing first. That's really important, a thing that high elo Jax players do. Maybe another thing is to save your Q, so don't think you have to jump in all the time to engage onto the enemy top laner. A bit like Fiora going in with her Q and W, you only want to be leap striking in when you know you have a clear advantage, and it's probably a 1v1. Moving into the jungle here, number 3, if you want to pick an AP champion, the second best AP jungler for 13.16 is Nidalee. Now, I know that Nidalee isn't going to be used that much in lower elos, as well as she is in higher elos, simply because she does require a bit of mechanical prowess. So, learning just how to clear on this champion is an effort. Learning how to use her abilities in tandem with one another, that's a bit of an effort. Learning how to space and all that stuff. Lots of people as well, when they play Nidalee in lower elos, all they do is just throw spears out, and then they just jump in if it hits. What you really want to be doing on this champion, guys, is only pouncing in when you have lethal on an enemy champion, or you're just like so much stronger than them, right? That you don't care whatever they throw back at you. So what you want to be doing for the most part, especially early game, even when you gank lanes, is to auto attack with that red buff that you have first. That's what you're doing. Remember, you are one of the few ranged junglers in the game, so you have almost like an innate advantage over those melee champions. And if they ever jump into you, you always have your pounce to escape and using the brushes for your passive. That's why she's such an oppressive jungler, and the buffs to her armor, her movement speed, and recent patches have just pushed her over the edge. She's number 3. Number 2, a champion getting buffed in 13-16, and honestly probably some of the worst buffs I've ever seen, just because Echo at the moment in 13-15, before these buffs hit, is still in a really good position. I don't know why they're buffing him, so whether it be to your Q's base damage, your Q1, whether it be to your actual slow in your Q, or also your W shield, in the jungle, man, this means your clear is going to be quicker. Also, you won't be as low because your W is giving you such a massive shield now, and in terms of fighting the enemy jungler, man, this actually makes your early game like not too bad. You can even think of invading, especially if the enemy junglers start on their blue buff, so that's also an option now. But it's also probably best, guys, just to try to pick Echo when you have Engage on your team, right? So like I was saying for Rumble, when you have like a Rel, Leona, Rakan support, if you have some sort of mid laner, maybe like a Lissandra, LeBlanc might even be good, yeah, even though you're both AP, but hopefully you get my point, where you actually do have some sort of setup. Also with Echo, guys, it's important to remember that you're not in a montage all the time. You don't always have to like EQ when you're ganking someone. Even just running into them with a red buff and auto attacking them is good enough. Save your EQ for when they try to escape, and it should be easy kills. Now, the best jungler in the game for another patch, Trinity Force, because it is not getting nerfed, and Kindred is not getting touched in 13-16. Kindred is, believe it or not, the #1 jungler, guys, for another patch. I really hope I don't have to get into this too much. One tip maybe I can give to you Kindred players out there, or to you new Kindred players, is to remember 55 seconds when you kill that marked camp. So if you kill a Scuttle Crab at like, let's just say 3:35 after it spawns, and maybe it is the marked camp, you should just know that the next camp that is going to be marked is going to be around 4 minutes 30. So whatever camp is up at that point, that will be it, whether it's the enemy's Gromp or the enemy Raptor camp. And with that as well, it's really important to remember where the enemy jungler starts. If they started on their blue buff, and the Gromp is going to be the marked camp because they haven't done it by about 4:30ish, then you should actually think about running there and trying to contest that mark. It's really important just to keep track of them throughout a game, and of course our website will have all the Kindred videos for you to be able to master that technology. Now moving into the mid lane here, number 3, a champion who I think you guys should actually use as a counter pick, but is such a strong champion anyway, you can probably get away with it, especially until like Challenger Reload, to be honest. This is Xerath. Yes, there are some hard matchups out there. We have even like Echo getting buffed right for next patch, will be better in mid lane. We have Akali getting buffed, which is a hard matchup. We have LeBlanc being very good. There are definitely champions who cuck you, which is why I'm saying I think you should counter pick as Xerath. But still, this champion, because of the buffs recently, to your passive, to your ultimate, they've been unreal for him. And one tip for you Xerath players out there is to use your cooldowns and synergize them, right? Way too many Xeraths will use their Q when their W is sitting there. Why not W, land it for the slow, and then Q someone? Also, what you can do is Q over the walls in the mid lane because you will be in fog. So on the first wave, for instance, you could always think about doing this if the enemy champion starts hitting the wave, especially if they're a melee champion. That should be a lot easier to hit than someone who is ranged. Just remember, in the mid lane, priority is everything. So if you have priority as Xerath into those range matchups, I would just highly suggest being in lane at level 1 ASAP. Try to hit the first melee minion with an auto attack. You guarantee prio. That is when Xerath is most annoying. So Xerath's number 3. Number 2, a champion who does well into Xerath, and I even mentioned her. This being LeBlanc, guys. So static shift, fleet footwork, LeBlanc is still out there being a menace. In high reload, she is easily an S+ tier champion. She is banned still in pretty much every single game. Well, she's not really. I'm exaggerating, of course. But she is the most obnoxious champion in League right now. I still can't believe they haven't really like nerfed this at all. Solo Q, it's just so broken, bro. It's so powerful, so OP. And because you don't really have many counters anymore because of this playstyle, she is just too good. So LeBlanc is number 2. Number 1, though, the best mid laner guys in the game, undisputed to be honest, this is Taliyah. Taliyah doesn't really have like many hard losing matchups, if any, and because of the buffs recently from last patch, they have made her into the most dangerous mid laner. Also, I think the change that kind of went, well, not maybe unnoticed, especially by Taliyah mains, but one of the great changes Riot gave you as Taliyah was the fact you can actually use your ultimate when you're in a fight. I think it's so good. Like, you can be in 2 places at the same time. So if you're 1v1 in the enemy mid laner and a fighter dragon or Rift Herald breaks out, you can instantly get there. She's a great champion at punishing enemy champions' mistakes, and guess what? In most elos, if not every single elo, someone is making a mistake when you have your ultimate available, and you can absolutely destroy people. If you have a good levels 1 to 5 as well, when you hit level 6, as soon as you hit that, as long as you're based of course, you can just ult around the map at max strength and kill people, no problem at all. So Taliyah is number 1. Now moving down to the bot lane, guys, and if you are enjoying our recent content, please remember to leave a like on this video and the other ones as well. We really appreciate it. And the AD carries for 13-16. Number 3 is not an AD carry because it's Karthus again. Bro, engage meta, Karthus with Lost Chapter at 1100 gold. The nerfs did nothing to you, bro, as well. keep picking him when you see some engage on the enemy team. I'd highly recommend using Karthus as a counter pick. By picking him, I think it's too difficult. You'll verse an Ashe at long range. You'll verse a Ezreal at long range. Caitlyn's getting buffed next patch as well. These matchups are very, very difficult, but if you're versing a Xayah, a Samira, a Draven who's quite close range as well, he wants to get his head in there, right? These champions are great for you to pick Karthus. And speaking of that champion, number 2 is Draven, guys. Trinity Force Draven, still one of the best champs in the entire game, let alone the AD carries. But if you want to play an AD carry even better than Draven, it's another Trinity Force abuser, this being Ashe. This champion, guys, is easily the number 1 AD carry. The only real matchup that might be annoying for you is against the Ziggs, so you might even want to consider banning that champion. I don't really think any other AD carry is going to trouble you at all, especially if you know how to space on this champion. Just remember that rushing a Kraken Slayer into Trinity Force, well, it's just proving to be the best way to build this champion. And as far as tips I can give you on Ashe, well, maybe the fact your Q resets your auto attack, I think it's quite useful. So let's just say you auto attack 4 times and you get your Q, try to auto attack 1 more time and then press your Q, because it will reset it, and this just means DPS, right? So that's probably important as well. Now, speaking of one of those supports I just mentioned, number 3, guys, for 13-16 is Janna. This champion, I put her here as a counter pick. Do not blind pick her, because who will you run into? Blitzcrank, stuff like this, right? Maybe Senna is good against Janna, long range stuff, Lux, Xerath, all do very well, right? You're picking Janna to counter who? Think about it. Rel, Rakan, maybe even a Leona, maybe Alistair, who's very good at the moment as well, right? Your Q cucks all of them because they have telegraphed engages. It's not a Blitzcrank hook, a Pike hook, a Thresh Q, get what I mean? So pick Janna to use your Q. That's why you're picking this champion. Number 2 is one of those champions who Janna completely cucks, this being Rakan, but he's so versatile. And he's versatile, a big reason why is because he's broken, bro. You can do anything on him. Engage, heal, and because you're a very good roaming champion as well, you have so much mobility, engage, everything, man. There is really no weakness to this champion, apart from maybe a Janna Tornado, so Rakan is number 2. But the number 1 support, guys, despite receiving changes in recent patches, this will continue to be Rel. The amount of CC you have in your kit, it is still too much, to be honest. Yes, your engages sometimes are very telegraphed, but the fact your Q now stuns people, it is too much, and that's maybe also a thing as well, guys. Remember, on Rel, you can Q flash, and then when you've Q flashed, you can use your W to ensure a kill and change CC them. Because your W, remember, it does take a little bit of time to charge up, and if someone gets hit by that, well, they must have their screen turned off. So if you have flash Q, if you have an angle for that flash Q into a W, GG. Those bot laners are going to die. So those were the 3 most broken champions, guys, for 13-16. Thank you so much for watching this video. This has been Coach Cheeks. I will see you on our next one. Peace.